I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll start with a roll call. Mr. Easterwood, Mr. Meyerholtz, Ms. Susser.
Here.
Mr. Warner. Oh, Mr. Babcock. Just now know that. Oh, that's right. You did. And Ms. Klukowski.
Here.
Do we have a motion to excuse Mr. Babcock? All in favor? Any opposed to that? All right. We're going to add a chance to look at the agenda. Any changes? Suggestions? Okay.
Road projects to miscellaneous.
All right. Is there any objection with talking about road projects and miscellaneous business? All right. And the minutes from the previous council meetings, everyone had a chance to review those. We actually have two sets. We have a motion to mark 5-6's meeting as read. A second over here. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a motion to mark the meeting minutes from 5-7 as read. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved on that. We have a little bit of old business, and so yeah, sorry, I just set that up. Okay, so this is ordinance combining official duties of the village administrator and cemetery sexton, establishing salary for the village administrator. We've had, I think, discussion about this for a couple meetings, and we took it back to administrative process. And so this is, I think the changes that have been suggested are in the yellow there.
Was just referring to like a back page or things he's been doing.
Right.
It's on top of what the monthly allowance was.
No, okay, so no, so section 3 highlights an addition that the cemetery board wanted to put in there that basically just implemented $150 kind of general operating budget for him. And so he could, just take care of, odds and ends, without explicitly, getting the permission of the board. And so that sets that over. They had a stipulation in there that they didn't mind if it like rolled over, it's just kind of a set number for the year. And then the lump sum payment in section 5 is just to compensate him from basically when he started assuming the duties to when we finalize this ordinance. So
One more reading.
I think this constitutes the first reading. So, there's still time for it to go back to a cemetery board meeting, which was important to them, although I don't think they necessarily had any changes to make, just that there was kind of the ability to think about anything else that they might need or want to see.
As we're only approving the proposal for administrator's salary, right? This other one, this updated one, what's up with this updated one in the file?
The actual proposal he's looking at. There's another document. That's the one
It's
that
not on
went
the
to the
agenda,
board.
that's the reason I was asking.
Yeah, that's just more of like an operating document between us to get us all on the same page. What's in this ordinance would be what is put into place.
But it has nothing to do with this updated document.
You're talking about,
We're talking about two different things, but one
Right.
is the ordinance, the other one's village administrator
Yep.
salary.
So,
Sexton proposal.
so that's our document between council and the cemetery board.
Are we gonna go over this one?
You're free to,
Well, I don't
you're free to
want, I don't
review it.
want to misconstrue anything right now, but
It's
And-
really just a document to update them because we're going back and forth between council meetings, admin meetings, and then I get back to them. So it's just say like, hey, this is what's happened. It's like a notes.
well, the only reason why I was asking is because the salary for the section committee, which I'm not opposed to.
Yep.
But then you look at the salary under the job description, right? The only thing different from what I read is that the salary portion coming from the cemetery is not proposed for the 3% increase.
It should include that. Let me read it.
In the proposal or the ordinance?
Which they both,
Because they agreed to it.
the 3% of the 8,000, I mean, he's gonna get 3% of $8,000.
So the 3% is only through the end of 2025 until and they know we review at that point that he'll
Yeah.
be getting but that it won't exceed the 8,000 and they agreed to it.
Yeah. It actually, I think it says in there, the council approved 3% annual raises are factored.
I wanted to make sure because I thought the cemetery was on a fixed thing and they opted out on the
So-
original proposal for increases. And that portion of what they allowed, he has room to grow to get into that portion of $8,000, right?
So we allowed for that room to grow. So right now they have 8,000 for the sexton and his initial package is like 6,000. And so that
That's all I was making
gives,
sure.
that gives 2,000 to grow into. And, yeah, I mean,
They kind of go hand in hand in a way if this gets approved.
right. Yeah. And we've been transparent with them. I know that they've had an issue with it in the past because of that, but I don't think that's the case right now.
Mm-mm. No, they approved it. They voted, they approved. However, I need to ask Stephanie, this ordinance says 150. That's not what they told me. Did you talk to them again?
I
Was it-
thought 150 was what was said.
100. 100. I just checked my notes.
I'm gonna change it to 100. All right. Any more discussion about that?
Who actually put that document together?
Which one?
This one? Stephanie did. With guidance from, I guess, cemetery board and us.
This is the first reading, right?
First reading, yep. All right, we have resolution 2024-7. This is a final reading, resolution approving the Wood County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Any final discussion? If not, a motion for approval?
Approved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I think was second.
So moved.
Can I ask about small business regarding kind of dealing with Wood County? Did we get an updated contract for that meeting? You guys signed it and all that?
They fixed it, yep.
I was at the township meeting, they brought it up. I want to make sure we can.
All right, we have resolution, is it just the agreement? Is that what we're looking at?
is resolution. It says Weston Feller Finch Professional Services Resolution.
Okay.
Now, 2024-8 is the,
No, it's also,
oh,
yeah, one's an ordinance, one's a resolution.
oh,
Okay, so this is resolution 2024-8, resolution to retain Feller and Finch to assist with the village's Main Street Improvement Project, to authorize the mayor to sign a professional services agreement and to commit money to pay for professional services. And this is the
So
second reading.
if you want, so they set the timeline, if we want to get it paved this year, you're gonna want to suspend the rules and declare it an emergency
I was
tonight.
just gonna suggest that because it's not gonna get.
Yeah, they said they can get it bid out by the end of the month, but you're still looking at close to fall, for the project. They think it'll only take 2 weeks, but to get it bid out now, or you miss it.
And this is for the Main Street project?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so once again, it's a resolution to hire Feller and Finch to help us with basic drawings and the bidding process to bid out resurfacing of Main Street from Cherry Street to the village limits. And this basically allows them to start the process. I believe their value is right around 10,000.
Yep, 10,050 or 500.
$10,500, which is approximately, we're thinking 10% of the project. Okay, do we have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second. Roll call, Mr. Easterwood,
Yeah.
Mr. Meyerholtz,
Yes.
Ms. Susser,
Yes.
Mr. Warner,
Yes.
Ms. Klukowski. All right, and a motion to approve resolution 2024-8. A second? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, so moved on that. Are they still planning on coming and meeting?
Yeah, we just have to, so that resolution is to sign the agreement. They need the agreement signed first to
Fair.
move anything forward, so.
All right, also old business, we have the firework agreement on the table, and so I did touch base with Laura and cleared up a couple of the concerns we had, or at least, got the other side of the story. And so, she's very hopeful, to continue working on getting that event up and going. Obviously, the biggest sticking point we see is the liability for setting off the fireworks. I've been super straightforward with her that that's, probably a sticking point. And she has been reaching out to other landowners. And so I just told her we definitely need to see some kind of certificate of liability, to take that on. That's where we're at with that. She's, supposed to update us soon.
I have a question.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to take anybody's wind out of the sail or
Yep.
anything, but there's really no plan.
Correct.
And I mean,
There's really no plan. Is that what you said?
yeah, there's really no plan.
I think,
I mean,
I think her plan is, she's expecting around 20 vendors and 3 to 4 food trucks. And
to occupy
she's,
what? Our alumni park?
yeah,
And
I'm
we don't
assuming
know
in
where
that
the
area.
fireworks are gonna be displayed at.
I mean, she's working on getting them, on the east side of 235.
We talked about this in the administrative process.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
think,
glad you guys did.
and
I'm trying to understand, because when we helped do Weston Days, there's a big plan. And my concern is people and traffic, Porta Johns. you know, just the logistics of it.
All that, so all, from what I understand, all that falls on her. To get all.
But what if it doesn't?
Well, I mean,
I think what I was trying to get at was that she has some pretty big obstacles to overcome in
Yeah.
order to get this going. So we are standing pretty firm on the liability. You have to secure land where to do this. So, I mean, she's going to have to present a plan before we would move forward.
right.
I agree, there is no.
Well,
plan.
because she had mentioned, well, maybe the fire department can do their ear tent and stuff like that, which I'm telling you right now, that's a big strike no. One, there's not enough power down there, right? And two, I have no way of controlling crowd for a liquor license, right? And,
Right.
And I don't have a problem with, I mean, people are responsible, I get it. But when it goes down south, when it goes south, it's gonna go south quick. And I don't want to be on the hook, for it, right? Because there's no plan, you know, and we only got a month and a half.
Well, I think I think the contract with her or the release of liability is pretty thorough. And I think what's been communicated to her is that, you know,
I think what I'm trying to say is she's got a large bill to climb. I mean,
Yeah.
This isn't looking favorable. So-
I did talk to her about collaboration with other people, and you know, she's, you know, not under the delusion, I guess, that other people that she's waiting on other people to collaborate. You know, like she had talked about the fire department not being able, you know, to help, and you know, Parks and Rec, obviously it's too short of notice, you know, to get them involved, and same with the ball program. You know, she mentioned all three of those. I mean, I kind of gave her that same sentiment that we're like rooting for, you know, to, you know, satisfy
It's on her.
the
doing.
concerns.
So I,
Yeah, I understand there was already talk about, or scuttlebutt about opposing any fireworks because we've already established that fireworks are allowed via the state. and we
Right.
have no control of that. My biggest problem is what kind of display, where's it gonna be at, right? And if everybody's out there, it's just sitting in someone's backyard, you can barely see it over top of trees, how much is that gonna affect? Cause we're not, obviously not promoting it, and I get it, but perception could just seeing, you know, it's being addressed at our lands. So I'll make sure there's a plan, it's a go, no go type situation.
So we want
Well-
to put a deadline, she has to either sign the agreement or it's not happening. Because we are getting very close, that's one of my big concerns, because like Rick is saying, like, this needs to be planned. So I don't want anything to be thrown together last
Yeah,
second.
I mean, I don't like the optics either of having, you know, something fail, but you know, it is, you know, a public person trying to use, you know, public land, and I think we're in the right to make sure that's done responsibly, but at the end of the day, you know, we're not party planners.
yeah, I think Jessica had the best point was that whether we're planning it or not, it's still.
I understand.
It will be our reputation going forward.
I mean, I did tell her, you know, that, you know, setting them off like within the village limits, like probably would not go for that.
Can't stop them.
They
Well,
have to be licensed and they have to have liability insurance.
I'm assuming there's probably gonna be some phantom firework type aerial displays, nothing professional because it's 10-15 grand just to do it. I mean, I just know because when we were involved with it in the village for the, you know, Weston days, then Aprils down there, that's what they charge. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, she indicated that it would be very similar to what was done in Portage. She acknowledged that one of her cousins is no longer participating. But she also maintains that her cousin was one fraction of the crew. So, I mean, there's that.
I understand. So,
I definitely never told her that it was cool without a license. So,
yeah, I understand.
I inquired about what type of firework. She indicated they're buying wholesale. So
So do we want to set a deadline? I like this idea.
No less than 2 weeks out, I mean, or more than that.
Oh,
I mean, May's practically
6 weeks
over.
away.
Why don't you suggest it to her neighbor,
that she what?
doesn't a neighbor instead of Fourth of July?
Mm.
It gives you plenty of time to do everything together if it's gonna go to that.
Yeah, I mean,
I understand the Fourth of July, but
right.
you're gonna shoot off flares or something at that, that's not within anyone's time enough. You give her more window of time, because there is stuff that she has to do.
Yeah.
We're not gonna bend from, you're not gonna bend from those rules, which is fine. You shouldn't.
That's a good suggestion.
Throw out another date, say, what about Labor Day?
So June 1st or late?
My biggest fear is I don't want her to fail.
Yeah.
Right?
No, and I don't either.
Because if she fails,
So does Weston.
Right. I guess what I'm getting at is that, I mean, she has a lot to prove in a very little time to prove it. And I don't know, it doesn't look possible.
Maybe.
Quite honestly,
I'd
though,
at least say next council meeting, but
quite honestly, if she's just using regular fireworks, she can do it whether we wanted to or not.
that's what I'm getting at.
I mean, it's allowed,
yeah.
state of Ohio, we passed it, so.
Anything over a certain amount of feet is required to have pyrotechnic capability. That's just.
But she can't bring food trucks, can she bring food truck and a vendor into our park without us approving it?
Yeah,
'Cause that's what,
yeah,
that's where she's making.
I don't think we have anything disallowing that.
We had a food truck at the open day. We didn't do any special stuff for
Food
it.
trucks are licensed by the county.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, just like farmers markets and stuff, I don't think you have to have a contract.
How about I communicate with her that, council would like to, see a solid plan by next council meeting.
I would agree with that.
And that's a great suggestion too, if,
Yeah, if she doesn't think that's doable, maybe leave it gateway.
yeah, I'm all about seeing things on paper. So, if she can show us,
Maybe her cousin can get involved in Labor Day since he's booked to a point.
okay, anything else about that? I just wanted to comment on this past weekend. Amazing weekend in Weston. So, huge thank you to the people that helped out at the cemetery. That looks awesome. Someone had posted on the Weston, Ohio Facebook page a photo of the soldiers being memorialized like their brothers, back in the Civil War days. And it's like a really cool photo. So it's like them in front of that same monument. And so if you're not aware, that group led by the Modern Woodmen and some other volunteers from Weston, they repainted our Civil War memorial, among other things. And then we had a super successful trash drop off. We love getting drunk out of town, right? And we also had an awesome opening day for ball. Just so many people, hanging out and supporting the program. And so that's pretty awesome. I've also been told that we have at least 8 adult softball teams that will be doing a league on Sundays, I think, right? And they're pretty sure that they have a 9th. So that's also really cool to see. Stephanie, anything?
We had more interest in the hometown hero banners. We had 5 come in within the last week, so I figured we'd do batches before big holidays. So the next one would be July 4th. So I put a June 1st deadline on the next batch that will go out. And then maybe Labor Day. I don't know if we'll get many. And then obviously Veterans Day would be the last one. And then I spoke to the person at BGSU that was doing the mosquito trapping in previous years. They plan on trapping in Weston again, in the same locations, which was cemetery, the ditch by Merrill Park and the ditch by the baseball field. And they plan on starting June 1st. And then they notify us if there's any positive West Nile virus. That's why they're doing the trapping. In the past years, they ended up stopping us early because we didn't have a lot of mosquitoes. So I don't see them stopping us here because the mosquitoes are. And then I think that's all. Apparently there is a funding issue with state grants through ODNR right now. They must still be finalizing their budget. So the NatureWorks grant is postponed right now. So the June 1st deadline is not June 1st, it is in limbo. So I'm just gonna keep watching for the date to be updated.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ken is our code enforcement officer.
There's been one permit issued since previous report. That was for a fence on Silver Street. On May 7th, I emailed Paul Scat information and asked some clarification regarding campers. And then I took a zoning permit to a property on Single Pike for a fence. They have not filled it out yet. It's coming up. And I talked to the property owners on Milton Street regarding the various applications. They were confident. The 8th of May, I signed the fence permit for Silver Street. I received a call from the property owner down on Silver Street regarding the possibility of a stone driveway from our backyard onto what would be Union Street right of way. Union dies right now at Brook. It's just grass. And he put a, if it's coming out onto a paved alley, you can do that without a problem. Stone. And his issue was that I sent him letters about tracking mud onto Union from his backyard. So he's trying to straighten that out by putting in a stone driveway. I don't have anything that says you can't stone even in right of way. So, so
And didn't we vacate that section of Union?
We're using it like it's still half and half on the neighbors to cut grass. So on the 9th, Paul responded to my email previously and forwarded out the response to all the council members. So I was looking at the same thing. 13th of May, I told Stephanie about the limo that's on Jackson, the parking lot, and found out that the limo had been used over the weekend. So I guess this really starts a new window, because it has no.
It's missing, right?
It's gone there. It's not there now. Right. And apparently it was used over the weekend. And then on Monday, I saw it. There on Jackson. Just had to do something. Thursday, then I saw it. But it does start a new calendar for a violation. The 14th of May, I received a call from the property owner on Sycamore regarding people living in the RV. I informed them that they had to be out by this past weekend The RV needs to be moved by this coming Saturday, with no one living in it during the time frame between the two. 15th, I received a phone call from the property owner, another property owner, Sycamore, regarding an RV on their property, and it has been removed. So I'm waiting on the second one, that is scheduled to be removed by Saturday. Said it does have electricity in it. This is apparently there's a couple of dogs that were left in the house. So keeping the pipes with the dogs. So as long as you're telling me there's no people and you let me let it know. Yeah, so the 17th, I ended up having to send an email to the property owner, basically just outlining time constraint. Involved and they all see something. So I just received a phone call from the property owner on Main Street regarding a hole in the stone at or near his driveway. Forwarded to Harold. Went out there.
That's the number, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I was wondering what it was, because I was just gonna ask, so.
And then, today I received a call from a resident complaining about tall grass down on Main Street on Bird. I told her that it had been on our list and the letter was sent out, waiting for the required date for cutting it. She was happy with that. And finally, on Sycamore, the nuisance property, I went by there today. Looks like they might have tried to do some cleanup, but they're still messing it back. The already grass has been, but it still needs. So that is related until this week. So it's still, in my eyes, is a nuisance property, unless you want to say they're working on it, let's give them a little more. But which, either way,
What's your recommendation on that? Ultimately, this one is on the.
when I talked to the property owner,
That's the one that lives in the hood.
yes, and he wasn't even in town. He was throwing the miles it on the renter. We don't have anything to do with it. Right. If the renter doesn't do anything,
All the both sides of the property.
it's still there, right? It's still on the property. If you do declare it a nuisance, or you do declare it a nuisance, then it goes to Paul. And he can send a letter out.
Well, I mean, the other process that we lay out is if we have, you know, the 3 steps, I mean, we can have the sheriff knock.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's cleaning the property.
You have to do both, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's a replacement, but
So. In that the property owner is saying, yeah, at least we cleaned up, but I want, the renters got it, but we don't have any ties to it. At all. And if she does, if he doesn't do it, it still falls down. Like I said, there's a trailer there that has some stuff in it that wasn't there before. Gotta believe that it came from the yard, but maybe they're trying to clean it up. That there's still stuff that I could see from the road.
We have proper documentation on this, so we can move forward on the research.
That was in the last meeting of
I thought
the
that's
special
what it
order,
was.
yeah.
I did not get pictures today. I'm gonna get those tomorrow. But we'll update it. The pictures currently had by our company. But I don't see anything's changed from looking at it.
all right, do we have a motion to make that property a nuisance?
And Paul's gonna ask me for more pictures. Yeah. I'll give him the stuff that she can give it to everybody. Stuff.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
I still have a question. Not just for you, but it's overall. I was sent or my wife has sent some pictures of a house that seems to be in not just this house, but a number of houses have this ongoing issue. Where they collect all their garbage bags and everything for long periods of time. And I know for a fact that the garbage bags that I saw a picture of got taken down to the trash pickup.
And it's probably a couple people.
Yeah, we gotta do something about that. I mean, for those to be just laying behind the houses.
We had one house in particular on Taylor Street. There was Bella complaint that it was multiple bags. And it was obviously they were recyclable stuff. But still, it's trash. At the end of the day, it's trash and, you know, so we gave her a window of time. It took that. Took a little bit longer than we really wanted it to be. The other ones, it boils down to a matter of, well, there's a house up Oak Street, Maple, that I had sent them a letter about stuff, and that was part of what they were doing was they were going to take it to the land, not to our drop off. Talked to probably 2 or 3 people. And by down on Main Street. I haven't gone by his house yet. Brick house. To see, but he was intending on taking everything up that house. But it was there and it was gonna get off. So,
But they accumulate this stuff for months.
well, in that guy's point, he was living there 2 previous weeks before. He had a plan of attack. It had been there for months, no doubt about it. Every letter we ever sent never got returned, never got acknowledged. At least this guy, I've talked to him, and he had a plan, whether it was finished or not. I'm gonna go by there again tomorrow. And as I'm working with Paul on taking, he wants pictures every week or every other week, just to see the status of the person.
I'd say if there's any other addresses, share them with Stephanie or Ken.
Well, it's gotta go.
It's a constant issue. It is constant.
If we're talking about bag garbage, we're not, I'm not saying because I renovated my house and things are big, I'm saying, I'm talking about bag garbage that's also, it needs to be monitored and therefore you need to have something in place. To take
We
care
have
of it.
that issue down there on Oak Street on the other side, across from Maple. We sat there for months.
The health department, that's where Pam needs to be working with the health department as well.
That's the same for 2 seconds. I had that dumpster over there put on and it literally had like a dozen bags of somebody's trash that, like days after it got sat down. So, I think it might be a trash problem.
Yeah, like I said, our system does call for a sheriff to knock on the door. So,
What we don't have in place, unfortunately, but still 4 or 5 different trash people coming around. But we also don't say you have to have your trash picked up.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah. We don't say your trash needs to be picked up on a weekly basis to anybody.
but we do say it needs to be in like cans and stuff.
Right, but you're right, there's that, but it's still, then it overflows the can, then it's beside the can because they've got too much, because they're not picking it up on a weekly basis. I've only got 1 can,
Right.
so I've got 2 weeks worth of trash, which is obviously more than 1 can. So I
Right.
set it beside it, and now it's out there for every critter in Weston, This,
It just seems like it's really a sad situation when we have regulations that if our trash sits in the right of way for more than a day,
they get a.
they can get a letter. But you can stash all kinds of trash bags and crap behind the house.
And
I haven't, and we don't have anything regulated.
actually, our ordinance does not allow for you to stack trash bags behind your house.
Well, but,
Our ordinance doesn't do that about it either.
right,
Well, it does.
I mean,
It
it's like
has
that
a,
on Main
it
Street.
has, it has a, it has a,
No process.
it has a process. It does have a process. And that's what I'm saying. If you see some addresses that, you know, Ken doesn't, you know, forward them on so Ken can start the process.
We run into this multiple times where, again, if they don't respond to the letters, then we still have, other than declaring it a nuisance,
Is as soon as they are out of compliance with the note or the notice of violation, they can be ticketed.
but the notice of violation is 7 days and then it's 14 days.
Right, but it's not months and months and months.
No, but it's 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah,
that turns into months and months and months.
well,
Yeah, but if it's 3 weeks and they're getting a ticket, then it's turned over to the sheriff's office.
Well, if the sheriff's writing a ticket, I don't know.
I don't know what else.
Because
I mean-
we don't have the ticket writing capabilities, and I don't want that.
no, I thought I made it clear that the sheriff is willing to do that for us. I mean, that,
That
I feel like I have
ordinance was
requ-
just put into place a few months ago, so
I understand, but I let them know which ordinances we were working on. They had no issue with any of those. I think the sentiment was, you know, yeah, we want to, you know, keep the village looking nice. So, and I mean, that's something similar we did with that property on the end of Taylor Street. Yeah. And so the process does allow, you know, some flexibility with Ken if they're in contact, you know, with them and making a plan. But,
At the end of the day, it's whatever he needs, that's what he gets.
right. And well, and that's where we're at with,
If he's got the documentation and he's done all that stuff and he recommends, I'm gonna go by what it says, but I guess I get what you're saying if he doesn't know about it.
Well, and some of the stuff. I don't get into that. I can't go into back alleys. I can go down the alleys. I noticed,
You go down the alley between.
Suburban Guest was really nice about placing a, nice little 6-inch standpipe in the middle of the alley at Oak Street. I saw them. So there's no vehicle that can get down there. At least from Oak.
Without driving on somebody's private
Right.
property.
There's also a big telephone pole up there, so I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
couldn't squeeze around the telephone pole now.
I'm coming up that way. Scooting around, but it's a lot easier coming from the north to the south until last week.
all right. Anything else for Ken?
I had a resident, she told me that she was gonna email you, but I didn't hear it in your report. There's been a lot of concerns about the retention pond fence down at the Lawndale trailer court. Has anybody talked to you about that? Okay, they're saying there's a lot of holes in it. They think that they're big enough for kids to get in. Do we have any, like, say what's on the?
Supposedly, they've told us we have no business on their property, but that would probably be,
I'm gonna tell you right now, that's what you governed by the health department.
yeah.
Right, because it's
That-
the gray
the health
area
department
that
Covers
you-
the trailer park.
in the trailer court.
You're just saying.
Could you, if it is.
I can contact them.
Well, we don't have any regulation on that anyway,
We don't.
right? So,
Okay.
No, but there are regulations for trailer parks
Mhm.
that are governed by the health department. If they're not aware that the problem exists and it's in our village, I think it's our job to
Right,
Well, I think it's, they assume it's our issue, but it's not.
Right.
We don't-
right.
I'll let them,
Okay. You can,
but no, I have not heard.
Okay, yeah.
are you able to pass that along?
Yeah.
Because Ken, you just said that you would touch base with,
I'll get a hold of them.
I'll text him.
all right. Thank you, Ken. A couple committee reports. Oh, sorry, Harold.
Fine, I'm trying to. stay away from it.
Yeah. So we do have the Allen Foundation Board. So, and we're coordinating with Maumee Valley. Their stone is done and ready to be installed. And so they're,
Put it on Thursday.
yep,
Example, you ain't bought it, so we're- that would have no, so.
yep.
I'm not done by Thursday.
Then you got a cemetery mower started, right?
He's gonna be working big two every day except for Friday, he'll work big to one, so that way he can stay on the hours a week.
Yeah. Oh, weed whacker specialty, right?
So we finally got somebody going down there, we're trying to get that ready to go, clean up, and I did find one issue with our stormwater on Van Tassel. The west side of the road. Which Van Tassel? The west side of the road by the, grain elevator has been broke. Apparently, probably more than likely by the, water department when they put their water line in down that road. So I have to dig it up and see where the issue is. It could possibly end up needing a new catch basin because the one that's there is all brick and mortar. So we might have to do replacing a new catch basin and open the line up. Because I had it jetted from both sides and at the same exact spot from both ways, it's plugged. So the only thing you can do is just pull that catch basin out, put a new one in and, you know, connect the lot, put a new piece of line and connect it to the old one.
Is that line draining into the ditch?
It's draining over to the other catch basin on the other side that goes out to the ditch on the east end of the field. We got 50 feet away from it. They jetted it all the way down and we got 50 feet from the end and that's all the farther we could get without getting out there in the field and jetting it from the other way. We have no way to get that completely cleaned out. But I was looking at the catch basin on the other side of the road. There is another line that runs parallel with the road under the road. And then goes over to the catch basin on the other side. Where the ditch goes under the road. So there's water draining out of it from there, so I'm thinking that other line runs all the way down the road. But we were not able to go anywhere with that because they can't get it to turn and once it hits the T in the road, it stops. They can't get their generator to turn and go down the road.
Let's get those on the map.
So, and I had them out here. There was a sinkhole that I found on Washington. And that I found that somebody stopped in and said it came to sinkhole in Washington. I went over there and I checked it out and I don't know where it came from. But we had our line checked and I had them come out with the camera and let it through there to see if it was anywhere in there. I thought the line was broke. And that's not broke, so I am not really sure where this sinkhole, small sinkhole came from. So,
Is that on the roadway or on the outside of the roadway?
it was right in the middle of the road, right where the water line, the storm drain and the sewer line all intersect. So.
What is
You
the,
had the camera.
We had cam tech
We
go.
couldn't see nothing.
There was no breaks in our line. Our sewer line, our storm line, so it wasn't our line that was causing it, so Next thing is get a hold of Northwest Water and find out if it's in the
So I
sewer.
gotta get Northwest Water out here so they can check their lines and see if it's, I mean, their stuff. So I'm in the process of trying to really get that started, so then that way they can go out and get that done.
How much do you follow up or work with particular utility company? And when it comes to, I mean, like one on Taylor Street, you kind of found out after the fact, after you did that project.
Right.
Is there, are you trying to, every time you see somebody doing something, like for instance, the gas line on,
Center
Oak
Street
Street.
or Oak Street, yeah.
I mean, did you?
I stopped in there and talked to them when they were doing that project.
Because I heard that the houses, the right of way between Locust and Taylor Street, when they put that new big gas line in, that they might have went through, bored through everybody's, drainage, natural drainage tiles coming from the house, that
Be behind the houses on Locust Street.
so they put that new line all the way around there. They bored it all the way down, and to make sure that these utility companies, when they do that boring, that they have a little bit of responsibility in case they do hit some drainage tile.
Right.
Because I know that is now an all, I mean, just seems we opened up Pandora's box when it comes to 6 inches of rain one day, everybody yards getting flooded, and now it strives a lot of questions coming, rising. Hey, they just did this, and I didn't know they went down the back alley, but they did. They bored it down there, and I'm trying to figure out if there's a way we can go back on these utility companies during these projects.
Shad Kendall had stated that there was flake tile that was laying on top of the ground back
Back over on Taylor Street.
there.
when they were-
Locust.
Focus and Taylor.
When they moved the gas line for the culvert, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there was white tile back there when behind,
Well, like be behind Kathy Hyman.
yeah. Cause yeah, we went over there. They might have busted all those all the way through there.
It's not that they might have, I actually have no idea,
Yeah.
because I don't think we actually have a stormwater system there.
Yeah, I don't think. we
I think that was put in years and years ago in some type of.
I wouldn't be so sure that, I'm not saying
Yeah.
the village did it, but there could have been tile that was run to the ditch.
Right.
And we may not have done it.
Yeah, that's great. You're keeping a better eye on the contractors, but I mean, we can talk about that more in depth in Public Works. Anything else?
And I want to get one more clarification that I heard something at the last meeting, or one of them, we were talking about Silver Street, drains and everything, the tiles. And I think somebody else also heard it. I thought that was cleared all the way to the ditch down by Crescent. And then a couple meetings ago, there was conversation that it was plugged. I'm just wondering, is it or isn't?
The ditch, or
The tile going,
the one that goes down behind Craig, or that goes behind all the houses?
Yes.
that go by Craig's house?
yes.
We just put that, I fixed that tile right by the driveway there. And as far as I knew at that point in time, everything was draining properly.
Yeah.
Now, whether it is plugged up again,
Well, no, I thought I had heard.
Yeah, I thought that we talked, and again,
well, no.
we're both not sure we heard it right.
The water, when it down at the catch basin where the water goes into the ditch, the water level, that's the one where the water level fluctuates, and if it gets over the pipe, because of the way the slope is coming off of it, if it gets over that pipe, that big basin will fill up, and then the water has no place to go. So it's not plugged, but it just doesn't, the water doesn't have anywhere to go once it gets filled up, until the ditch goes down below the tile that goes down into the ditch, which is probably about 2 foot off the bottom of the ditch. So when you get any amount of rain, that is gonna
And part of that problem is due to where the combination sewers used to be put together, where that wall was at.
Yeah,
Chad Kendall has suggested we knock that out of there so that it doesn't fill.
And we talked.
Right.
yeah. But we
I
can
don't know
put
if we
another,
talked
we can
about it
probably
with
put
Carol.
another, a higher one in, a couple feet up on top of the other one, so that way when the water level does go up, it can still drain out.
Right.
So that was something that we were,
That would probably help. That's why I was just trying to get clarification.
Yeah.
I thought it was already done.
yeah, as far as I know, I fixed it and it should be draining properly. For the most part, when we had them jetted, we went through it not too long ago. And it was fine then, but that's just because it's so low in the ditch. So,
Yeah, and I had indicated, obviously Christensen's, are vocal about, that drainage solution over there. And so I'd indicated to them that obviously we're working on ditch cleaning, but, also maybe we just need to look at how that drains into the ditch.
Another drain or another tile in 18 inches above the other one, so that way
Yeah.
when it does drain.
I'd like to find out what it's gonna take to knock that wall out. Where that combination sewers from years ago.
The one by.
At the end of, no, at the end of Evergreen.
Evergreen.
Or Evergreen, I'm sorry, yeah, Evergreen. That's the main issue.
Yeah. I don't know how we're gonna have, that one, I'm gonna have to get back in there again.
But I was saying, I'd have to go look at it.
All right. Okay. Anything else? All right. Thank you. All right. We had a committee report for rec board. Oh,
Looks like Dean's not here. Did he give it to anybody?
I have it. I can read it. Meeting was on May 9th at 6:30. They approved previous meeting minutes. Color run is May 11th. Weather may cause the call for rain date of May 19th at 11 a.m. We'll call morning of. Reviewed road closure needs. Next wild program is May 25th from 10 to 11:30. Approved a budget of 600 for the remaining programs for the year. The Glow All Out event is June 1st at Sunlight. Approved a budget of 300. And then approved a budget of 300 for a wacky inflatable man as a location marker for Parks and Rec programs. And then discussed 4th of July and agreed not to be associated with it. That's all.
all right. And administrative process from the 13th.
In attendance was myself, Jessica Souser, Stephanie Monstein, Brendan Kotowski, and Rob Meyerholtz. We discussed credit card processing fee. A proposal to implement a standard fee for all credit card payments to account for credit card processing fees, so the village isn't eating that cost and we should be most of it. We reviewed the road budgets and projects for Main Street and Silver Street, and we are within budget, so both projects will still proceed. Department of Labor salary threshold, which is covered under new business. Basically what we're asking is to increase the clerk's pay for the July threshold, and then Stephanie would track over time, and we would review that and how that would be handled on the next raise in January. Cemetery section we already covered. Fireworks we already covered. We reviewed the social media policy that was written out during the committee of the whole that we had to kind of suspend doing. Discussed the village handbook along with policy drafted by Paul Scaff for background checks. And we discussed stormwater. Actual item is to move the Sycamore stormwater quote from JPX to Public Works to review and discuss and look for opportunities to lower the cost so we could possibly do that. And the pay ordinance that's coming up. The other actionable item, and the third one is there are a lot of grant writer applications, although not a lot of quality grant writer applications. So to put together a personnel committee to review those and set up interviews.
Okay, so one of your actionable items was to move the Sycamore project back to Public Works.
Yeah, the quote from Jim.
Yeah, and basically just see if we, right, I know, but
The idea is to see if what Harold could do on that, could we lower the cost so that we could bear within a budget.
or just reach out to other people as well, but just basically look at that project and see if we can get the cost lowered. And there's possibly money, in other places that finance committee could, recommend on moving, so that we could move forward with, some of that.
Are you guys gonna have an appropriate dollar amount that we'll work with?
Well, right now you're at 35, right?
I know what the estimate is.
So we're,
How
I
much
guess,
is allowed in his budget?
I guess we're just challenging the board to
What's the number?
see how low or we can get it. Yep. And,
Let's try, Rick. Come on.
all right,
I'm not the one holding the translation.
and
You have The
then,
equipment, Harold, to do that project?
The backhoe. I mean,
Not what I have.
do the whole thing?
well, we don't have a trencher.
No, I don't have the equipment to do the whole thing.
No,
I have to rent.
I know your suggestion was to have Harold do it at the last meeting.
Well, I
thought his suggestion was to see what Harold could do to lower the cost of it.
Yeah, well, when
Right.
you say what Harold can do, my assumption is that you're saying just have Harold do the job, but he doesn't have the laser equipment and
I
everything else.
assumed it as what parts of that job can Harold do so that JPS doesn't.
Yeah, I think what Harold did is he reached out to JPX to see what it would take to do the project, and
The
that's
right thing to do.
a good
That's the right thing to do.
base point. Yeah, well, I mean, it's also been argued that we have an administrator, a working administrator, with the ability to help with projects like that, so that it's not all on a contractor every time. So what we're,
The only issue being is that with the bid that the contractor gave you,
Mhm.
he's not gonna warrant his work based on what he does in between. Whatever.
I think the
That's-
idea is
that's
to
my-
move it to committee to just see rather than debate it yourself.
and then the grant writers, and so the suggestion there is to
Put together a special committee that can.
yeah. And
I
so,
have a problem doing an administrative process. The problem is we have a full agenda as is. And I'm concerned that
okay. All right, do we have 3 volunteers to interview grant writers?
I would.
Be my recommendation, just to make a special committee to get that done. And so we have Craig,
How often would it be?
well, probably just once or twice. I mean, any desire to make sure we get someone qualified over there? Maybe Dean?
Well, he's not here, so I think he's gonna do it.
Voluntold.
All right, we have Jessica. All right, so we'll put together that special committee. I mean, they're like just waiting to hear from us pretty much, right? Let's look at the calendar.
Did you guys do the date?
I don't think so.
No. I did, the ones, I only had it in the paper once, and then we had it on Indeed, and I, paused it for now, because we had hundreds of applications. Like Craig said, most of them.
Not quality ones.
Yeah.
I mean, beginning of the week, right? Is that how I remember it?
Yeah.
I
If
mean-
we wait till
I mean, next,
June,
Oh, okay.
then I'm off.
What about the 29th?
Back in session. So
We can keep it in the fair policy. It works better on everybody's schedule.
we could. I think it may be best. I mean, Stephanie's in there. James.
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm also okay with that. All right,
So do you want that on like the top of the agenda then?
yeah, well,
Kind of like go.
yeah, let's see if they're able to make our next committee meeting.
Stephanie, could you forward cover letter and the resume of the local one and the one from Colorado? I think that's where we're gonna end up.
Are they commuting?
Yes, daily.
So, yeah, so for that meeting, do you want them to call in or how do we want to do that? Set up like a link?
Zoom.
Oh, for Colorado?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could.
Do we want
do
to
that.
review the applicant? Do we want to, as a group, review the application and then do a?
Yeah, I'd like
How about
some kind of questions.
how about send it out? And if you have any objection to interviewing them,
Yeah, we could interview him at the next one.
I don't know that we want to push it out too far, you
No,
know?
you're right. That is true. We could interview him. We could set up the two.
Yeah.
So it's the woman from Bowling Green and the woman from Colorado.
Okay.
Susan?
Yeah, I recognize it too, and I can't remember now.
Yeah, that's the guy I was trying to get over. He works for the county.
Or something. I know you're.
All right, awesome. We do have some upcoming meetings, community development and public affairs on the 21st at 6, Public Works on the 28th at 6, Cemetery June 6th at 6, the Weston Sports Initiative Board on the 7th, June 7th at 4:45, and administrative process on June 10th at 6, and rec board on June 12th at 6:30. So it was canceled
Yeah.
For next-
Canceled last week.
Yeah.
for next month.
No,
No.
the safety meeting for May was
Okay,
canceled
all right.
because it's on Memorial Day.
Gotcha.
June one's the 24th.
All right, a little bit of new business here. All right, this is a resolution determining to proceed with the submission to the electors of the question of levying tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation pursuant to ORC sections 5705.19, 575 or 5705.191, 5705.25, and 5705.26. And so this is to put the issue of the cemetery back on the ballot. Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you perhaps put that into understandable English?
Yeah, so right now, the cemetery is mostly funded by an operating levy. And so it is 1.9 mils, right? Yep. And that generates around $25,000. And it has run out, and so it is up for renewal. And so this is just the process in which we have to go through to certify that to be on the ballot for the election. So it's kind of a process between us and the county.
And which ballot would that end up being?
The November one.
Yep. Yep.
renewal.
Yeah,
Have they determined how much more that's gonna get them?
I'm just going for some.
around 25,000, I think is what they indicated, right?
Like normally renewals will generate, if it's a renewal, it should generate a little bit more than what they were.
I think that's,
Under.
I think that's replacement, right?
Yeah, the renewal would change.
Right. Yeah, and so there's the concept of renewing it or replacing it. And what a replacement does is sets the levy for the current valuation of the property, whereas I believe a renewal keeps it locked into where it was valued when the levy started. The other thing that we're taking advantage of, and forgive me because I don't know the percentage, but there's a slice of that levy that is covered by the state or the county, that basically our taxpayers are reimbursed. I think it's like 10% of it or something like that. And so if there were a renewal, that would also go away.
I think it's the, I don't want to say the wrong thing, the homestead exemption.
Homestead
Yeah.
exemption. Yeah. So that was a program that was put into place a super long time ago. And basically that levy has just been renewing. And so if it didn't pass, there would still be an opportunity for them to ask again or change it up in the following election before it fell off as a funding source, for operating the cemetery. And so the rest of the cemetery operation is basically from, selling the sites and pouring foundations and things like that.
Digging grave.
Yeah, digging graves.
That's just for the building.
That answer your question?
Yeah, it just kind of makes me feel like, well, if you want to get something done, why don't you educate people about what it is you're trying to get done? And that, when you put, the way that it was worded.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I agree. I agree. Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked a question. That is probably the biggest mouthful that I've ever read for a resolution title. So what I'm required to do when I read these is to read the title. And so
Yeah, but when it comes down to discussion, let's talk about it so everybody can understand.
yeah, absolutely. Cemetery tax levy renewal is up for November.
And when you talk about the homestead exemption, there's no way of understanding that rebate off of the tax for the cemetery.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll look into this. I'll look into the specifics of that and maybe inform the public. It's
Homestead exemption would come off, like, I could apply for homestead exemption because of my age. What he's saying is that goes away from the cemetery at that point. Because certain portion of my taxes would fall off of what the renewal would.
Yeah.
The taxes. And you'll have a number of homestead exemptions.
So there's education needed.
Well, yeah, I agree.
And if you're gonna be offering rebate, why take it from first?
The rebate is outside of our realm.
Yeah,
It's just,
outside.
it's
County.
it's done by the county. It just the fact is, if we did a replacement versus a renewal, all of our taxpayers would lose out on that because it's kind of like a grandfathered in program.
And if there is a rebate available, how many people are not claiming the rebate because they don't?
It's automatic.
No.
I
You have to apply for it.
I
You have
believe.
to
Yeah, you have to apply for homestead.
Okay.
Education, right?
All right. Well, this is first reading,
Yeah.
and so that's awesome. Thank you for the questions. We do have an ordinance 2024-8 that was brought up by Personnel Committee. And what this does is we've been notified that since we have two employees that are salaried, and there is a minimum threshold that they must be paid without the exemption of overtime, basically. And so it affects Stephanie. And so I'm trying to see, what's the current, do you have that? Like, how much is it going up? I know we had discussed it.
Let me, this is not, that's the mouse for that computer.
I think the first one's really small. The first
Yeah.
one's
Yeah, let me pull it up.
And so there's two increases. One of them starts in July, and then the other starts in January. And so what they say is you have to compensate for time over 40 hours worked, even if they're in a salary position, if they don't meet this threshold. And so we saw the two thresholds. The second threshold is like $10,000 more than what Stephanie makes. And so, that's obviously something that we got to look at. 10,000, a year is a lot. The smaller threshold wasn't that far off. So it was that committee's recommendation to just basically increase her compensation to meet that threshold. And then basically from then until, the end of the year for when the new, minimum would have to, come in compliance unless we were watching overtime hours. We basically want to monitor and see if, if she's really even putting in, a ton of overtime hours. And just to kind of get a grasp on what kind of hours she's putting in. Because right now she's salary, she's not required to clock in. But obviously it's a, full-time, position.
But this increase would be on top of the 3%.
No, it would bring current up to, so it's a $1,453.10 difference from what I'm at right now.
But
Yeah.
I thought you had 3% increase.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
So-
it's on top of that.
That's right. Yeah. The amount we want to bring it up, which you just says 1,000.
so yeah, you're bringing it up with that threshold, or $1 more than that threshold is how Paul had it set up.
Okay.
So.
And the difference was 1,000.
$1,450.10.
Essentially, we're coming into compliance with
Right.
the regulations that they're putting forth for us.
Yes.
So we decided in committee to come into compliance in July, but to hold off on coming into compliance in January and have her clock her hours to see what she's actually working. That's what we want to get us hold on. Currently 40, but with all the extra meetings and everything.
Yeah. And so, I mean, because you're also able just to compensate for overtime if that does happen. And so the thought process there was, if she's not, going above, 40 regularly to get the things done, which we don't think she is, but if we do have some special meetings or a requirement for her to be here more than necessary, we could kind of put, a time value on that and kind of pay out
So besides council.
for the overtime.
Council, this meeting right now.
Yeah.
And then administrative process, there's 3 meetings, roughly about 6 hours.
Right.
2-hour time, we're gonna have administrative process all the time.
I have a question relative to that.
Sure.
If she is going over, then, do you have some kind of limit set as to the point where you say, she's going over so much that it's worth hiring a second person to help with the responsibilities? And if she's not going over, is it worth going to an hourly wage instead of salary?
I think that's what they're saying, that they're looking.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't,
not sure that that's.
I don't-
How about it?
I don't think we're looking at bringing her position back to an hourly position.
Or hiring a second.
I mean, we're pretty I mean, she's doing, what she needs to do within the 40 hours. It's just, we're not, recording that on paper. So the committee really has nothing to go on to determine whether,
The second increase.
And
right.
Does my questioning apply to any other employees?
No, the administrator already makes above that threshold. And so,
Is he going over regularly? Or-
yeah, I mean, right now is a super busy time for the administrator. And that's also something that we are looking into, seasonal help. For the village. I think we've discussed that we're looking into that. But obviously we're trying to kind of get him, moved into a salary position and working on the cemetery.
I know Harold relies on comp time, right? You can take those overtime as comp time. Not anymore, right?
No, you can. You have the choice, or
You
if your
have to-
salary,
Yes.
yeah, you can still choose to take comp time or overtime. It's just tracked differently. So he's not because he's getting paid a salary. You just have to track it.
So you're not able to do that?
I can,
Okay.
yeah.
Just saying, just thinking of different options to keep from doing above and, things. If she's over 40 hours, maybe it's comps hours or something. Does that put us back under that threshold or?
Well, can you explain where this regulation comes from? Like, give some background on the regulation, why we're even discussing it, where
So
it
the
comes from.
Department of Labor is increasing based on I believe it's a poverty percentage. So there's two different ranges. One is for white collar workers.
Administrative,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, and then one is for administrative.
Yeah, working.
So they put pretty much a minimum wage on the salary. One is for July, and then there is another increase in January to get it where they want it. And then it's gonna increase probably every time they review that percentage.
Due to cost of living and
Yeah.
things
So
of
with
that
that
nature.
being said, if we're getting mandated by the state, that's right?
That's
Whatever. Same thing. And, does that mean that and I'm not trying to take that away from nobody, but we put a policy in of a 3% increase every year. If they're forced, and I'm not trying to be, are we kind of eliminating the 3% annual increase?
Well,
Seems how the
think we
state's
looked that over.
mandating it for us.
Well, kind of. And so,
I think that'd be in review once that comes up.
right. And the stipulation is in order to do, salary without overtime compensation, you have to be at that threshold. If you're under that threshold, you have to compensate for overtime.
I have a question.
Sure.
If somebody's not working overtime, then she can be paid whatever. She
Correct.
doesn't have to. be
Correct.
official.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
this is really only relevant if she's working more than 40 hours a week. On
yes,
more than a random basis throughout the year.
right. Yep. Anytime she would work in excess of 40, we would have to compensate her for overtime.
Yeah, but isn't that with salary? Salary is base pay. You don't get any more, you don't get any less.
Except for this federal regulation.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not saying that you're not doing.
No,
it.
no.
No, that's
I'm
not
saying
what they're
that, like,
saying.
'cause I was salaried before, I don't get paid overtime.
There is a federal threshold that if you are making under a certain amount in your salary, that you legally have to be paid for overtime.
It's a new regulation.
And so her new salary would go to her new salary would go to 43,000. was your wage more than 43,000 a year?
I mean, yes.
Okay, so in that
you're
case,
Within,
in that case, you're correct. There, you do not have to compensate for overtime. It's a salary based.
so
And our administrator would be set up like that.
But again, you're saying if he does work over, he gets comp time.
Not the administrator.
Well, that's what it said.
I think that's mistaken then,
Okay. As
right?
long as it's a mistake.
That's what I.
Because Harold would be over the threshold, correct?
Absolutely.
yeah, when that ordinance takes place,
Right.
right now, he's paid
Right.
hourly, so
Correct.
he is.
I thought it said
I-
no comp time didn't apply to him anymore.
Correct. Not after.
Well, no,
you make a
I
salary.
got clarification. He would still get comp time. He can still,
Over 40 hours.
if he, well, actually, no,
That's over the threshold.
no,
Right.
yeah, because he's
Can't,
not,
that's double dipping. then.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
right.
I guess that's where the mistake was.
Well,
um,
when we first started looking into this.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was-
so since he's paid over the threshold, he wouldn't get,
Correct.
No comp.
Whatever, I don't care.
I think when we talked about it before, we thought we had to pay out the comp time
Mhm.
when he switches to salary, but we
Oh,
don't because he can still deduct it. He just, if he's over the threshold, he wouldn't get to make any more.
Right.
Right, that makes sense.
Yep.
That eliminates having to keep track of the comp time too.
Mhm.
It's a big deal. Or paying it out if it's.
So we need a motion to suspend the rules.
Yeah, I mean, if you're okay with passing it as an emergency.
Well, I mean, that's what it's for. isn't it?
But you making the motion.
That's what it says, emergency. That's what it says, the thing.
Where's
Right,
it?
it's an emergency.
I mean, because we would be
It would put.
May,
pass-
June. Yeah, I mean, the third reading would be after July.
Suspend the rules.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion to suspend the rules. Ms. Klikowski, Mr. Warner, Ms. Suser,
Yes.
Mr. Meyerholz,
Yes.
Mr. Easterwood.
Yes.
We have a second.
Aye.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved.
Just go in a hurry.
Has everyone had a chance to review the bills?
Motion to approve.
We have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, and then grant writing project inquiry, I think maybe Brittany put that on the,
It's a little bit different. I'll touch a little bit on it. So, Brittany knows someone that is in a master's program that has grant writing as a project. And, they wanted to see if we had any grants that they could,
head up.
pretty much. At the time, I suggested NatureWorks, but they wanted something that has like a due date, maybe past July. So we didn't have, well, NatureWorks changed since I last spoke to him. But we just kind of wanted to give everybody a heads up that there's someone that might, be doing a grant as a project. So if there's any
What
lists.
timetable would it be from what to what?
It sounds like they're in a summer program, so their classes would end in August. So he
So
said
that's
some with a
cool.
July deadline. But that doesn't stop. I mean, submitting a last minute grant isn't great. So if he gets in a head start on something, because I think we have, County Park District one comes up in usually the fall, and that one gets mailed out usually in May. So there's that one too. But if there's any others that,
Maybe that's any suggestions for me.
yeah,
Okay. Well, maybe we give all the committees a chance to meet and propose something if they have anything on the plate. But I mean, otherwise, are we okay with contacting him and letting him know we're interested?
I've been proposed this for potential grant writer we're hiring. I'm asking,
Because we're just asking if they want a grant.
Right.
okay,
That's the problem.
Okay.
Person I know has also stated that if they do successful in their master's program, they'll write for us for free. You can write concurrently with someone who is paying to.
Yeah, it's
So you just have to have one grant writer. You can have multiple grant writers working on multiple projects, so they can be focused.
Awesome. Okay.
Safety committee had a question.
Yep.
To follow up on. We're wondering what's going on with the door situation for Stephanie
It's,
and also.
it's on order.
Camera situation.
we haven't reviewed the cameras any further, but the door
The
is
door
on order.
was, when it was ordered, was 16 to 18 weeks out. So, probably.
Is there any reason why the cameras aren't being?
We just haven't gotten
I
to,
didn't know if there's a specific reason.
no. Road projects we had added there.
Yeah, at the last meeting, Mr. Patel was talking, it got towards the end of the meeting. And I'm looking over the meeting minutes that he is suggesting that the village should get an engineer to see what issues there are with fixing streets and do it as an emergency of sending it, instead of sending it to a committee. I talked to him through text after the meeting because I wanted to get a good idea of what he actually was suggesting. His suggestion is suspending all road projects until we have an idea of the infrastructure underneath the roads. I told him that we would at least put it on the public works agenda. And that's why I'm asking to put that on the public works agenda.
Okay. So,
If I'm understanding him right, I think he's basically saying that you are gonna have the vision to put a better stormwater system together in the future that you'd address the road situation at the same time, as far as not doing something to a road if it was gonna require major work. But I think, as I brought up before in the meeting, in order to do that, you'd have to have engineers come in here and propose what could be done about our stormwater situation for the future. And then determine where to go with that, because there's a lot of federal money that's out there available. You just have to have a study ready to go to the feds with money. Because
Well-
4-inch clay tiles are not gonna last forever.
I understand. It sounds like your suggestion,
So his
you're
message to me says,
suspending road projects until we can address stormwater.
you propose that we suspend all road projects until an engineer can identify the infrastructure problem. Yes, it's infrastructure is what is causing the flooding. Building roads on top of them is not going to fix the issue. But that was the message I got.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my assumption.
I mean, we can certainly take that statement back to that committee, sure. All right. We have a couple of visitors. We'll start with me.
I, don't have anything in particular today, but you had.
Okay. Is it red?
Yeah, I'm Red.
Okay.
I'm the guy that bought what is now, Horns and Halos Saloon. There's been a lot of rumors that it's a motorcycle clubhouse and all that. As you see, I am the president to a motorcycle club that is in Bowling Green and it is staying in Bowling Green. So, I mean, you may see more of these patches. They are friendly neighborhood patches. We're a very tight-knit family. We want to do a lot for the community. We do a lot for each other as is, you know. We became kind of loose to one another in Bowling Green because Bowling Green didn't really, anytime we try to do any kind of charity thing, like we didn't get a lot of positive, you know. But I think small town community, I think everybody will be a lot more racist with us and stuff. So, and it fits our style better anyway. So, but we are staying there, and this is a bar.
Okay.
There will be hopefully because I'm learning as I go. So hopefully we'll have breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'd like to have a place where, you know, people can have coffee in the mornings and sit, watch the news and talk about the way the world is.
Right.
So, that's kind of the plan. So the plan could change as it goes, but that's the plan for now. As you see, we've been over there working pretty constantly. Anytime I have any sort of question on anything, I run past her, just to make sure, you know, like the sign, for example, I wanted to make sure before I got the sign in that everybody was happy with it. If it was going to be okay. So, I do got to get you that drawing I just got that done a couple days ago. I forgot about it. So if anybody has anything at all that they're offended by, bothered by, anything, I want to make it work for everybody. So, just feel free to broadcast me. I'm an open book. I like to talk. Stop over talking anytime.
Great, look forward to that.
Anybody have any questions or anything for me?
Do you have the meeting day set?
It looks like probably not until November before we can actually open. I'm sure a lot of people know that there was a lot of mess with fines and violations of tax problems and stuff. So transferring is not an option. It would have been trying to keep her motivated to work through those things that's really possible. So, I'm working with some lawyers and some state people and stuff, and we're just doing all brand new everything. But the problem is that it looks like a 5 month week till November, so it's late now. So, but you'll still see us there quite a bit and stuff because we still technically hang out there. We just can't sell like a lot of stuff. So.
Awesome, yeah.
Exciting.
Thanks for coming. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet. You guys are welcome forward, check it out. We've made a lot of big changes in there, so we're all pretty excited about it.
All right.
And you guys actually own the building.
Yes, yeah. That's why because if anybody knows the way our motorcycle club was before, we were on Route 6, on Millennium Road right there before Route 6, just east of the old country house. That's something old timers know it as. I wanted to make so many improvements there. I mean, that place was a dump. It was one of the big things a lot of people always talk about. I was like, everything's a dump. It was a dump out there, but I'm not going to put money into something he wouldn't sell. The Bob and I was unrealistic about the numbers he wants on stuff. He's not a good person, so it might be a good businessman, but he's just not a good person. But now that I own that completely, that place will never be anything less than perfect. That's the wall was one of the big issues there. Sees that, so that's a result. So open to suggestions too if anybody has any ideas on things and stuff. So a lot of people have said put a big mirror over there. If that does happen, it definitely has to be something that incorporates and it catches Weston and it's identical. So
We would definitely really like to see that. It's been brought up a couple times by a couple residents. They would like to see a mural downtown. So
yeah, I'd love to put it there. So and I'd like to do more in the future. I don't have any particular ideas and stuff, but I wouldn't have. I have absolutely loved being here and for kids still play in the street. People still wave and say hello. It's beautiful. That's dying everywhere.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I would really like to see not just that stay here, but I'd like to see some little stuff happen. I see Main Street look as beautiful as I imagine what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I've been starting to fix the whole time.
It seems like you have your hands full, so we're excited to see what you can turn that into. I think you'll have a lot of support, for breakfast and lunch in particular.
I definitely have. I gotta say, the community. I got first couple of days. I was like, man, these rumors are crazy.
Aren't they?
So much stuff like third parties, from other people. But since I came over, I've talked to her. I've talked to. I even the sheriffs were they've been sitting out here what they didn't know. So I got some friends over there. So I talked to some of those guys, and I've kind of cleared it up. And now, I've even people have sent the screenshots when stuff has been discussed on Facebook. Makes me happy. People are embracing it. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, awesome. Welcome to town.
And some people have met Bridget. Bridget is my American Pit Bull Terrier. She's pretty much with me all the time. So she was freaking out at the door because I didn't let her come with me to the meeting. She's very, very well trained. She's pretty much service quality. So she'll be around up until we start serving food.
All right, for Bridget. All right, in the front.
I just have a question
Sure.
for the upcoming meetings. Are those all open to the public?
Yes. Yep, and
Where are they?
all of them are held here, except for safety, which is usually held at the safety building. Just use the back parking lot and it's in the meeting room.
Okay, and their next meeting is June?
Yeah, yeah.
24.
Yeah, and if you look at the calendar, most of the meetings are on a very specific Tuesday of the month or Wednesday of the month. And so they're mostly predictable. They get changed around every once in a while. You,
I
sir?
really just got one question.
Sure.
I came up here about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it's talking about a pothole over on Washington Street.
Okay, yep.
What is I think 2 weeks is, enough time. That's just me personally, but how much time do you guys need to actually see it, fix it, and stuff? You need like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or 2 weeks?
Do you have any update on pothole in Washington?
All I can do is go over to Gherkins and get some blacktop. Some cold patching.
Is this the same thing that we're talking about sinkhole?
No, this is, we have filtered it before and it's gotten worse. When you first brought it up, it was right after the storm.
Yeah.
I went and looked at it. I seen it's there. I just know that it was filled full of water and I haven't been able to go get anything to fill it in.
Okay.
So with everything that has been going on the last 2 weeks, I am sorry that I have not been able to get over to Gherkins.
Okay.
I had planned on going over there on Friday, but with everything that I was trying to get done for Saturday, I didn't get a chance to go. So I will get it done this week. Heck or high water, it'll get done because I know that it's a big pothole and it needs to be fixed. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to get to it, but I will get to it this week. No matter what time it, I gotta get over to Gherkins to get the blacktop material to the cold patch to get it fixed. So it's just,
It's not a big deal. I know weather dictates.
Yeah,
There's water in the pothole.
and it's just been,
Right.
I've just been busy and having two of us here has been the biggest issue. So trying to get everything done that we've been, trying to do has been next to impossible. So I'm just going to do my best and I'll get it done this week.
Yeah, we're kind of in our very busiest season right now with grass and stuff. No, I appreciate that. You said it was Washington Street? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any plans of?
Yeah,
Back there?
I mean,
Our road's pretty bad. back there.
Washington Street, we know is pretty bad, yeah. And absolutely, that's like, I can't speak for the committee, but it's way up there.
And I know we're tucked in the back.
Right.
No,
No, and that's okay.
I know they
I mean,
did that one strip going into Washington.
we did Union Street and then we've also done Brown Lane. This year is our budget is like maxed out. We're doing residential Main Street, which is, we're thinking over $100,000 project. And then we also have, maybe the only road that's even worse than your road, the part of Silver Street that's exiting the trailer court. We're fixing that as well. But yeah, I'm happy to say that that's definitely on our radar. And
That's what she said too.
and so
It's maybe next year, which is perfectly fine. I'm just wondering all the process of
Yep.
that. And it was nothing against.
No,
you.
I know. I'm just letting you know that I'm trying and it's just me and Gary. And I can only get so much done in an 10 hour period. And I know that it's
Yeah,
there and I will get it done this week. So then that way you don't have to worry about straddling it or going side to side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the.
I don't wanna go back
No,
there and
no.
put Durapatch in it because I don't think Durapatch is gonna be good enough for that as big as it is. So I need to just go take the truck over, get a big chunk of cold patch and throw it in there and pack it. That's
Okay.
the best thing.
Sounds like a
that I
plan.
can
Thank
do.
you.
So I just gotta go, I'll have to go get one of those compactors. I don't know if we can order one on Amazon and just get it shipped here. Maybe we
I
can.
don't believe. You can
I don't
probably just go to an equipment.
Or just go rent, go
Either
down to.
rent one or go to an equipment rental place and they'll have the used one that they can sell.
Yeah, well, we've got the account down there at rental place in Sunbelt Rental, so I could probably just run down there.
There's no sense in doing cold patch in that if you don't
Pack it.
compact it.
Yeah, I know, so that I could go get a packer and get the cold patch and put it in and fix it, so.
okay. All right, appreciate that. Yep. Mr. Dallas.
I really appreciate that. Too.
Mr. Dallas, anything for council? All right, Mr. Patel. Mr. Patel, there you are.
Oh, I missed most of the meeting, Mayor, so I can't really comment a lot on it, and I didn't
Okay.
have any specific questions in mind today.
All right, well,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. Okay, all right, well, great meeting, everyone. We're adjourned.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
you.